Well, sand is a hotter commodity than most people might think. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the cost per ton used for construction in the state has increased about 30% since 2012. That's significant because different types of sand are used in almost all aspects of construction, from road projects to buildings and houses. As Lindsay Wright reports, suppliers say in order to keep up with demand, they need more access to the source of the product.
Joe McCurdy has owned Brookfield Sand and Gravel for about 25 years. He started the Indianapolis Supply Company because he noticed a demand for a quality product. Today, perhaps more than ever, the demand for sand still exists.
The economy is like a giant roller coaster, and when the economy is on the way up and maybe, at some of the more marks, then there's more used.
Sand is used in everything from concrete to asphalt to glass. And in Bartholomew County, for example, it's used to help de-ice around 700 miles of rural roads. The county mixes the sand with salt.
Cuts down on the expense of using pure salt, and then the sand provides some traction for people to drive on while the snow is melting.
Hollander says it's not uncommon for the sand prices to increase slightly each year, but this year the county will pay 53% more for sand than it did in 2018. Although the county typically uses around 5,000 tons of sand each winter, Hollander says the increase won't be the end of the world. Still, it's a significant jump, and it's just one example highlighting the demand for sand, a finite resource that industry leaders say could eventually get a bit harder to find. Sand is a sediment broken down from larger rocks. Lee Floria from the Indiana Geological and Water Survey says that process pretty much happens everywhere to a varying degree.
In a climate such as Indiana, where you have significant rainfall, the movement of water is a very effective abrasive agent that breaks down and weathers rocks.
And in order to access it, companies like Brookfield open up pits and dig it up. On a day when the temperatures are in the 60s instead of the teens like today, these machines at Brookfield would be in action, separating clumps of various sediment into specific piles. The company even does testing to ensure they know exactly what's coming out of the ground. McCurdy says customers need to know exactly what they're getting. Trucks drive in, load up with sand, and off they go, almost like a drive-through.
It is used in so many different things, the glass products, the concrete products, the asphalt products, home building, recreational use. We've produced sand for racetracks before, horse racetracks.
To keep up with demand, industry leaders say they need to open more areas to prospect the material, but the permitting process can be brutal. McCurdy says because there are so many checks and balances, it can take up to 10 years in some cases before a mine can operate.
There's the Indiana Department of Natural Resources, and then you have the Department of IDEM, you have the Army Corps of Engineers. So you have a lot of people that get involved in the permitting process, and you have local ordinance and regional ordinance and things like that you have to conform with.
Plus, there's often outcry from residents who don't want to see this in their backyard.
Most local governments are in favor of it until they get remonstration or get some pushback on it.
Shoemaker says Indiana still has plenty of sand and gravel deposits right now, but they need to access them in order to keep up.
It's a supply and demand business, and we're also regulated on how far we can haul a product. It's a very bulky product that you just we can't import this from other parts of the world, let alone other parts of the state very economically. It just doesn't work that way.
McCurdy says Brookfield is going through the approval process to open another mine, and it will likely take a few more years before it gets off the ground. He believes, just like the economy, the demand for sand will level off eventually. But right now, he plans to meet consumer needs.
It's a product that we all use, although we don't really realize it.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Lindsay Wright.